You seen the title. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about it. Video has been requested by Thomas Rodriguez. And today we're going to talk about this. This is a video I've been planning before. I've been planning to do a video like this before, so it was going to come regardless, but it's been pushed. So, yeah. I had to respond to his comment because he commented on my video. He mentioned the name Jehovah. I said, oh shit. I was like, woo. It's good to see somebody using God's name, which is not Jesus. It's Jehovah. So it was great. So I ended up saying stuff like, oh, I was a Jehovah's Witness for 7 years, blah, blah, blah. Then I was like, if you got any more video requests, that goes for you too. If you got any video requests, feel free to let me know and I will do them. You got any questions for me? I'll make a video about your one question, a whole fucking video. How about that? You ask me a question, why am I bald? How often do I cut my hair? Do I take a shower? How often do I use the toilet? I'll make a video on it. So, so I was a witness for like 7 years, And then he was like, okay, well, since you asked, since you asked for a request, well, why don't you talk about a video as to how you became one and why you're not now? I was like, oh God, me and my big mouth. Okay. I will try to make this video as quick as I can. So I don't want to spend 30, 40 minutes talking about my spiritual journey. I'm going to try to really cut it short. Let's say I attended my first meeting in October of 2000. It was October 2000. And what I noticed was that when I went to my first meeting, I was invited by a neighbor of mine. And he was supposed to go with me that day, but he was sick. So I ended up going by myself. So I went my first meeting. I was welcomed. I felt very welcome. They were very nice, very polite people. They had like 5 or 6 different nationalities and races up in there, which was cool, So I live in that part of the city where there wasn't just black people, So it was like at least 6 nationalities when I went at the Kingdom Hall that I went to. So, and it was very nice to me. They didn't say a thing. I had this big cross on my neck. I had a cross, like a chain, a cross, like go around your neck. You know what I'm saying? I had that going on, and they didn't say anything about it. And I didn't know how they felt about the cross. I didn't know how they felt about it. It wasn't until later I learned more about it, but they didn't say a thing about it. They didn't tell me to take it off or anything. And I have my own Bible. I didn't use theirs or the Bible they publish. I have my own. And yeah, it was great. I noticed I noticed like later that they had no crosses on the wall and they had no windows, And I'm gonna tell you what I did notice on my first meeting was that how much the speaker would go into the Bible. He would encourage you to do so. He wouldn't just randomly spill out a verse, like they do in the churches. I found that impressive that they constantly encourage you to look into the scriptures, to follow along with them, to bring their point home. Because it's one thing to say, oh, 2 Timothy 3:16 says blah, 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 blah. It's a difference when you have the person read it along with you, because you ingrain it in them. You should encourage people to actually look it up themselves, or you can read it with them when you're arguing about people about the Bible. And I learned that early on. So, well, backing up, let me see. One of my mother's boyfriends I think he used to be a Jehovah's Witness too. But by the time I met my mom, I knew he wasn't. So, he had an old publication. It was like a booklet. It was from the 80s. It was like, I think it was 1989. And it was entitled, I still got it to this day too. It was called The Bible is a God's Word or Man's. And I said, you know. So I picked it up. I just thought it was another religious book, you know. I knew about Jehovah's Witnesses back then, but I just thought they were strange, weird people. Because they didn't celebrate holidays, you know. So I was like, what the fuck? How can you be happy not celebrating Christmas, you know? You got to be fucking saved. You don't celebrate birthdays. You know, I thought they were weird people. Very strange. That's how I would describe them. I was a Lutheran at the time. I was going to a Lutheran church at the time. That I started reading this book, and I was amazed how many times the name Jehovah was in it. Over and over again. You know, I didn't realize I was reading a book published by Jehovah's Witnesses because I was enjoying what I was reading within the book. I didn't find out till much later that it was published by them. You know, I was like, holy, I was enjoying the teaching so good. And it was different from how I was getting taught in the Lutheran church and when I used to go to the Baptist church growing up. It was different. They really teach you the Bible. They do. You know, and that's what I admired most about it. That's what I noticed when I went to my first meeting. Was how much they led you to the Bible, you know. And then before I left, some guy asked me, "Do I have somebody to study with?" I was like, "No," and he offered to be my teacher, so to speak, you know, to study with me, you know. So, you know, yeah, I invited him over to the house. I was staying with I was living with my mom at the time. I was like, how old was I? 19. Yeah, what was it? Yeah, I was 19. Yeah, at the time. So my mom didn't mind him coming over. She didn't mind. Sometimes she wasn't even home. So, you know, and that continued. His name was Harold Latham, by the way. You know, and he was my study conductor for like years. Up until basically after when I left, you know. So my mom she didn't care. She was actually happy for me, you know. She was happy that she already knew I was going to Lutheran church and I went to the Baptist church and all that stuff. But she was really happy for me. She didn't mind me going there. You know, I didn't try to like force it on her. You know, hey, Mom, you got to go with me. They teach the Bible. Oh, you know. But to make a long story short. It was around 2007 when I started to fall out. You know, I was, to be honest, it was I started not wanting. I just didn't want to go anymore. You know, it was like because I was actually doing things that are not Christian. You know. And I also was on the party line. That's how I met my ex. And I was still going to the hall then, even though I was talking with her. But I wasn't going to tell anybody in the hall I was going. Because I was already baptized then. You know, I was baptized as a witness by then. And I didn't actually go out and go to door until 2001 of the summertime. I started going to the hall in 2000 of October. And it wasn't until the summertime of 2001 that I started going out. You know, that's when I officially became a witness. Because you go to the Kingdom Hall for 30 years, and if you ain't out preaching or witnessing, for that matter, you're not a Jehovah's Witness. I don't care. It doesn't matter if you get baptized and you stop. If you stop preaching, it means you're not a Jehovah's Witness. Because Jehovah's Witness is not what you are; it's what you do. It's action. It's not saying, oh, I'm Catholic. And it's not like that. Witnesses involves action. You know, so that's why I was like, I'm not sure. That, you know, that's why it puzzles me when people say I'm a witness. I said, no, I'm not. I haven't been a witness since 2008, at least. You know, so it's 2019. I haven't been a witness since then. So it's like, I mean, yeah, sometimes I talk to people about the Bible, but I don't really consider that, you know, not really. I mean, going out there preaching, going door to door, that's what you're supposed to do as a Christian. That's what Jesus told his disciples to do. That's what that was the direction that he gave his disciples. So So yeah, I left because I didn't want to be a hypocrite. That was basically why I left. I had young people looking up to me. I had other people looking up to me, and I was active in the congregation then, so I didn't want to continue to go with that guilt over my head, because I was actually going to date this girl that I met online, on Party Line. And I was, and I was like, because if they ask me, why did you leave? I say, well, the world choked me up. I got choked up in the world, I got involved with the world. So that's why I left. And I didn't leave because somebody got on my nerves at the hall or the meetings. I didn't leave because I disagree with a Bible scripture or I no longer believe that they are the true religion, which I still do. I left because of me. I don't blame nobody but myself. I choose to leave. It's not their fault. So you got the usual stories. Oh, they said so. I don't agree with them on that scripture. Oh, and this person got on my nerves. Oh, that's not my reason of leaving. And I ain't heard no stories that they just left because they just didn't want to go no more. I don't hear no story. It was always some type of a anger issue that they have against somebody, or why do this and not do that. It was always a problem with the organization. I didn't have those problems. I still believe in a true religion. I still believe the Bible is the word of God and not man's. I still believe God's name is Jehovah. And I still believe that he's not Jesus. And in fact, as far as the Trinity is concerned, I never believed in the Trinity. Because when I was about 14 or 13 years old, 13 or 14 years old, my grandmother had a children's Bible. I read that thing from cover to cover when I was 14. At least 14. 13 at the least. And I was about 13 or 14 when I read it. I read it from cover to cover. And that book didn't tell me that Jesus was God. It told me that God and Jesus were two different people. Even though I wasn't familiar with his name was Jehovah, but I knew that Jesus and he had a father. They wasn't the same person. They were two different people. That's what the children's Bible told me. That was not published by Jehovah's Witnesses. None of my family members were Jehovah's Witnesses. So, I used to read the Bible when I was a Lutheran. I used to read it. When I was away from the church, I used to read it at home. And I ain't find no evidence that Jesus was God in there. I didn't see it. I never believed in the Trinity. So I was like, wow, people actually believe that Jesus is God? What the that's pretty messed up. A lot of people believe in it. If you believe in the Trinity, you believe in the Trinity. I'm not here to argue with you. You know what I'm saying? If you want to argue with me, by all means, man, do what you do, whatever. I might respond or I might not. Because some people, they just stuck on that belief that he's God, even though they, at the same time, they say it's a mystery. So that's the reason why I left. I didn't want to be a hypocrite. So that's pretty the reason why. And that's that. And ever since I did leave in 2007, when I moved in with my mom on the south side, I did go to the hall a couple of times, off and on. A hall down around her house. So yeah, I went a couple of times and everything, and I still get, to this day, I still get publications. I get the Awake magazine and the Watchtower. I still get those, if I see them on the streets, I say, oh, can I get a Watchtower and Awake? They give it to me and I go on my way. And to this day, off and on, I still read the Bible. And when I do choose to study, or rather do my Bible reading, it's always in the morning time. So, because if I don't do it in the morning time, I'm not going to read it all that day. So I still consider myself a spiritual person. The Bible has a special place in my heart. It actually saved my life, because prior to me going to the Kingdom Hall, I was going to kill somebody in their sleep, because that person threatened my life the day before. But the Bible stopped me. And ironically, it was Sunday and I was on my way to church that morning. I could have killed him. Her, rather. I said him because she was a dyke. So I could have killed her. But I didn't because I remember the Bible says thou shalt not kill, So man, I went to the church that morning instead of killing her. So and I feel, and I think about that off and on sometimes, especially when I'm reading the Bible, I think about how my life would have been very different had I killed her, So, I mean, I've always been spiritual ever since I go as back as far as 14 when I started to get that spiritual awakening, if you want to call it that. I went to a church by myself when I was 14 years old and they were singing like this song. And I started getting teary-eyed, I said, oh, wow, I always believed in God. I never had no issues. I never doubted that he exists. I just didn't care. I was a kid, My parents didn't go to church. They wasn't religious people. So I said, hell, I just cared about video games and girls. Video games and women. Like I do now. So, that's pretty much, but I got my spiritual awakening, if you want to call it that, at 14. And then when I was in junior high, I had this bus aide. Her name was Pearl. And me and her was kind of close, I used to sit by her in the back of the bus. She was a really nice old lady. And I don't know why, but I don't know how it happened, but she ended up giving me this book. She loaned me this book, right? She didn't give it to me. It was about this lady who claims that Jesus took her to hell. I read the book from cover to cover. Scared the living shit out of me. No bullshit. It scared the living shit out of me. I was like, wow. And I was like, holy. She was like, you better get saved. You don't want to come down here, And I'm like, you damn right I don't. I mean, I stopped cussing. And I started being a better person. I started reading the Bible because I was scared. I didn't want to go to hell and burn to death forever. You know what I'm saying? And she was pretty graphic and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, I wanted to be a pastor. I had the desire to be a pastor all of a sudden. This was when I was in junior high school. So I was about, 17 to 16 years old then. And I was like, oh, man, But even though I don't believe in that teaching anymore, the Bible does not teach you go to hell and burn, by the way. Even though I don't believe that anymore, I am thankful for that book because it really got me started on my spiritual journey, because I ended up going to this church in Hammond, Indiana, this Baptist church, and I got baptized, I mean, I had fun, though. We used to sing on the way there and sing on the way back, And I remember I had won a dozen of donuts because I could never win it, Because whoever sang the loudest get the dozen of donuts. And so the day I won it, I lost my voice. I was like, I'm happy I got the donuts, though. You sing the loudest, you get the donuts. So I'm surprised that I won. And to this very day, I'm still surprised I won those donuts. I was like, praise in the Lord, hallelujah. It's like, Jesus Christ. But yeah, I don't call myself Christian anymore because I don't do Christian things. So it's like I don't live that Christian lifestyle, because Christian means Christ-like. You have to live that life. Jesus won't be looking at porn. Jesus won't be saying abusive speech. It's like, for example, Jesus will not be playing violent video games. He won't. Trust me, he won't. He won't be playing Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto. He won't be doing those things. So I do all those things. So that's why I'm not Christian. I'm not gonna knock you if you want to call yourself Christian, even though you do the things I just said I do. That's on you. But I'm not a Christian. And I kind of take offense when people call me that. It's like, no, I'm not Christian. It's like, no, because just because I'm spiritual, I'm spiritual, but I'm not Christian though. It's like that's a difference. So, I mean, yeah, as far as the Bible is concerned, it has made me a better person than I am now. Because I used to have anger issues in high school, and like a lot of people, I did a lot of things that I regret. You know, I've been mean to people. You know, I've gave people a hard time. I've made my life harder. You know, but as of now, I still have that spiritual personality. And that's even though I left the Kingdom Hall and I'm no longer a Jehovah's Witness or a Christian, I still have that peace of mind. You know, the Bible just affected me in a positive way, you know. So, and I still read it to this very day, off and on. I mean, I read the Bible aids that I have, the few that I have. I threw a lot of them away. So, yeah, I love reading the Bible. I love talking about the Bible to people, you know. I love doing that. Talking to people about God and everything, Jehovah and Jesus and the characters in the Bible. Doing character analysis and all that. I like that period. They could be fictional characters too, of video games or movies. I like talking about characters. I like doing that a lot. So, yeah, that's just the way I am. I used to write stories when I was in school too, you know. So I am passionate on story. My brother knows this. I used to tell him, I hate it. Why did this happen? You know, why is no explanation? I want character development. You know, that's how I be. That's because I'm passionate about story. You know, I like character development in movies and video games or whatever. I like all that stuff. You know. So I used to write a lot. Man. I used to write a lot of stories when I was in school. Whew, my teacher used to have me to read my stories to the students too. And I used to. And this one boy, I was reading. It wasn't a story of mine. It was a book that I was reading, and he fell asleep. Couldn't believe I read him to sleep. I was like, geez, man. Yeah. But is there anything else that I can say about my spiritual journey? Because I'm entitled this video, My Rise and Fall of Being a Jehovah's Witness. That's what's going to be the title. So, but it's basically my spiritual journey. I'm going to try to add both of them in the title. So, cause this video is like 22 minutes now. Jesus. 23 minutes now. Oh. But yeah, I don't think, just say nothing else, you know. I know my grandmother was opposed to me going to the hall, though. She was opposed of it, though. But she didn't give me a real hard time about it, you know. So... She never gave me a really hard time. I used to stay with her too, you know. I used to teach my sister the Bible as well. And my sister, you know, and all that. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the video. That's pretty much all I have to say, you know. I mean, the few things that I said that the Bible does not teach, I could make videos on them in the future, but I'm not going to promise you it's going to be soon, you know. But I do plan on making videos talking about the Bible and what the Bible really teaches. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I can give you some trivia about Jehovah's Witnesses, though. They wasn't always called Jehovah's Witnesses. They were called the Zealous Bible Students. And that's what they are, Bible students. And they proved that to me when I went to the Kingdom Hall for the first time back in the year 2000 of October. They are Bible students. And you expect a Bible student to know about the Bible, right? And yes, they do know about it. Oh, and another thing about Jehovah's Witnesses is this. Remember I said earlier in my video that I thought they were like unhappy people and they were strange because they didn't celebrate holidays and birthdays and all that? That can't be no further from the truth. I mean, I've been around happy people, don't get me wrong. But Jehovah's Witnesses, they are one of the most happiest people I ever been around. And they laugh so much. They laugh a lot. That's one thing that I take away. I used to go to some of the members in the congregation. I used to go to their houses and have dinner with them. Boy, they are so happy. And you can tell if they just trying to put on a face. They wasn't trying to put on a face at all. You can see that shit was genuine. And that's one thing I do take away from my experience of being a Jehovah's Witness. Is how happy they were. And you know, and they wasn't strange. They were just as human as you and me. You know, they just believe in the Bible, and they believe that you should live by the Bible. You know? So it's like, it was great. I loved hanging around them. I loved it. Really do. You know? I used to work for one of the members at the congregation. He used to own a carpet company. I used to work for him. So, and boy, the things we used to talk about and everything on the way to work and from work, you know, it was great, man. So I was definitely wrong on that they're unhappy, you know, because that was, obviously is the total opposite. They're very happy people. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they get a bad rep, you know, because that just come from people that don't know them, you know. But yeah, so as you notice in my videos, I always wear like a collared shirt, at least most of the videos. I like dressing nice, as you can see. Collar here. Oh yeah. You know, I got that from going to the hall. You know, because all the men wear suits and all the girls wear nice blouses, dresses, not skirts. They don't look like they come from off the corner. Even the little kids and the teenage girls, they dress decent. And the men wear suits, ties. And when they're not in the hall, they wear collar shirts like this. You know. They dress like this. They look like me if they're not in the meeting, you know. So that's where I get my dressing nice. It's from my experience of going to the hall. I've been there for 7 to 8 years, you know. So it's like, yeah, that never left me. I like dressing nice. Also, my father was like that too, even though he been in one meeting to see me give a talk. That's another thing. I used to love giving talks about the Bible in the congregation. Those are fun, man. My dad came to one of them. But yeah, he likes to dress nice himself. He's always been like this since I was a kid. Smelling good and stuff like that, because, you know, he's a ladies' man. That's my father for you, you know. But anyways, that's pretty much the end of my video. And got nothing else, but if I do, I'll just talk about it in a future video if it's appropriate. This is Y Chromosome signing out. Peace and love.